Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, welcome. My name's Nazareth, and I'm on a 12-month journey to learn everything I can about wealth and finances. Today I'm going to be talking about how to set a financial goal using the SMART system, but I actually have an additional step that's worked wonders for me, and I'll be sharing that at the end of the video, so make sure you stick around. Before I get started, I want to share that I am not a financial expert and nothing I say should be taken as financial advice. Make sure you do your own research. I'm just sharing information that's worked for me and that I've read. So let's get started. Now, the first step in the SMART system for creating a financial goal is that you have to be specific. You want to ask yourself what you're trying to accomplish. So there's a difference between a dream and a goal. A dream is something that you wish would happen, whereas a goal is something that's achievable. So saying something like, I'm going to live abroad one day, that's a dream. But saying, I'm going to move to Thailand, now that's a goal. That's something that you can achieve and make a plan to turn into a reality. Now, if we flip this into finances, saying something like, I'm going to be rich one day, that's a dream. And that's a great dream to have, but it's still just a dream. And if you want to turn this into a goal, you want to add something to it, like I'm going to become rich by focusing on real estate investments. Now that is starting to take shape, and it's something that you can work towards. So there are two things that really help me understand if I'm on the right track with specificity. The first one is that I've stated what I'm going to do. And the second one is there's an action associated with it, right? So I actually think I'm going to take this goal and use it throughout the rest of this video so we can see how it kind of takes shape and forms and turns into a proper goal. Okay, so the next step is you want a goal that's measurable. The question you have to ask yourself is, how am I going to track my progress? Now, when we're talking about finances, it's a lot easier because there's usually numbers associated with your financial goals. So something like, I'm going to become rich by having real estate investments can become, I'm going to become rich by having 3 investment properties. Now, there's still some vagueness there because real estate properties can be worth different things, right? Like in one area, a house can be $50,000, and another area, that same house can be worth $1 million or $5 million. So I would actually take it a step further and say something like, I'm going to become rich by having $500,000 invested in real estate property. Now, what I like about that goal is if I were to share this with 5 different people, they would all walk away with the same understanding of what I'm trying to accomplish. And that's how I know it's specific and that there's a way of measuring it. If they were to walk away with different ideas, right? Like if my goal was, I'm going to become rich by real estate investments, well, someone might think that's $1 million, another person might think that's worth $20 million, another person might think that's worth $100,000, right? Everyone's definitions of what rich is different. But by adding a number there, I can eliminate any confusion and make it really easy to understand what I'm trying to accomplish for other people, and more importantly, for myself. Now, the other piece of this goal is this gives you a way to track how you're doing. So when you're halfway into your goal, you can look back and say, okay, I'm about 50% of the way there. That means I'm on track. Or shoot, I haven't actually touched this goal. I need to really get started here. So it gives you a way to measure your success and keep you on track. Now, the next step in setting your financial goal is looking at if it's attainable. The question you want to ask yourself here is, do I have the skills and the resources to accomplish this? A lot of people are so focused on a really large goal that they forget you can break it down into smaller goals to make it attainable. So looking at my larger goal of $500,000 in real estate investments, the question I would ask myself is, do I have the ability to purchase property? Do I have the credit score for it? Do I have a down payment for it? Do I have the ability to get a mortgage? And if the answer is no, then this is not attainable. I need to take a step back and address those other pieces before I really try to go for that larger goal. So maybe what I do here is take a step back and say, okay, I don't have a down payment, so I'm going to focus on getting $50,000 for a down payment. That's my first goal. And that's still working towards your larger vision for your life, but it's also something that's manageable, doable, and it sets you up for success. The point isn't to discourage you here, but it's to set you up for success so that you don't become jaded and think that this doesn't work. You want to create a goal that you can accomplish. Okay. Okay, so the next part of setting a SMART financial goal is relevant. Your question here is, why is this important? So this is a really good checkpoint, like the previous one with Attainable. It helps you make sure you're on track. So let's say, again, my goals for my future, my life goal is to have $500,000 in real estate property. Now, I can't get there, so I've decided to create a smaller goal to focus on first. Let's say that goal is I'm going to learn gardening so that the front yard of my properties look great. Now, is that relevant to helping me achieve my life vision? The answer is no, right? But the down payment one is very relevant, because if I get that down payment, I can purchase my first property and it sets me up for my future. So this is a really good checkpoint. If it's not going to help my future, it's not a goal I should be focused on. Now the next one is there's a time frame. And this is really important when you want to turn your dream into a goal. Saying something like, I'm going to do this one day, well, one day is going to come and pass and you're still going to be in the same spot. But as soon as you attach a timeline to it, you're going to start working and stay on track. And of course, you want a time frame that's attainable and relevant. So in terms of my example, maybe it's I'm going to save $50,000 in 18 months to help me purchase my first property. Now that is a specific goal that's measurable, attainable, relevant, and there's a timeline to it. So it's checking off all of those boxes. And if you watched my previous video about bad money habits, you'll have heard me talk about how I take my goals and break them down into smaller achievable steps. Having a time frame allows me to do that. Something like $50,000 in 18 months becomes about $2,800 in a month, and it becomes about $960 per week. So that helps me understand where I'm trying to get. Now, as I said, I have an additional step that I've created for myself, and it's helped me stay on track, and that's reason. What is my reason for this goal? And I don't mean about relevancy or things like that. I mean, what is my personal reason to keep me focused on this goal and to make sure I'm going to reach it? And this is usually something really emotional. I know I usually say emotions and finances don't belong in the same space, but in this case, your emotions can help drive you to get you to your goal. So it's really important to have a good reason, especially if the goal is something difficult. Something like saving $50,000 in 18 months, that's $3,000 a month, almost. And that's hard for someone like me to do. So if I'm going to do that, I really have to have a strong reason motivating me and keeping me on track. And this is why a lot of successful people say that you should have a vision board. It's a visual representation of what your goals are and the reasons behind it. It's what motivates you to reach your goals. If you don't have that, you're not going to be able to wake up every day and spend extra time and energy doing additional work, right? So for me, what I find works is balancing my goal and my reason. If I have a really tough goal, I need a really good reason. And, just becoming rich isn't that for me. Something like I'm changing the financial future for my family so that my kids don't have to worry about money and can live a life with financial freedom. That is impactful for me. Something like I'm purchasing property so that my parents have a place to retire and they can finally stop working. That motivates me. So this is something that's going to be very personal and dependent on you. Think about what your reason is, and for me, that needs to be a backing point of my goal. I'd love to hear what your financial goals are, so let me know in the comments below, and let me know how the Smarter system helped you kind of shape those goals. I'll be back next week with a video on RRSPs, so subscribe if you want to get a notification, and until then, check out some of my other videos, and don't forget to hit that like button. See you soon.